7th of December, and the sun rises once again in the Serengeti. As usual, Hugo leaves the Nadudu camp early and sets off for his day's filming. His most recent diary entry reads, "It's still very dry. The rains haven't started yet, but I hope the wildebeest will soon be here. Meanwhile, we'll have to concentrate on other animals. If I'm lucky, it'll be hippos." George said he spotted a nice group yesterday. Had radio contact with Matt. He still hasn't had any luck.
I originally started filming on my own, but then I took on more and more people to make films with me and train them. And one of the people I took on recently was Matthew Eberhard. Now, Matt had worked at Ariflex learning how to repair cameras. He'd worked in editing rooms, so he had a fair amount of experience, but not as a cameraman. So he started working with me as an assistant for 6 months, then started shooting with a second camera from my car, and just got on very well and worked together very well. And he's now a really very good cameraman.
In the dry season, water is very scarce in the Serengeti. Where water can be found, however, a wide variety of animals is never too far away. Although water provides important nourishment to animals, it simultaneously presents danger. It's the domain of the crocodile. Inevitably, wildebeests and Tommies must come to drink. Lurking just beneath the surface of the water, the crocodiles wait in anticipation. They are not the only ones. Days in soaring temperatures, Matt waits for the perfect shot. He relies on regular updates from George, who is out scouting the area. George, do you read?
Roger, Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, it's getting a bit hot in here, Bonner. What's happening outside?
Well, listen, they seem quite keen to drink, and every time they approach the other bank, they seem to be spooked. I don't know, maybe there's a croc on the bank or something. Can you see anything from your spot?
No, I can't, unfortunately. Well, let's just hope we still got the light. So, just give me a shout when you see them moving.
Yeah, will do. Do you want me to go and check some of the other spots in case they're drinking elsewhere? There are not as many as yesterday, so they might have found another drinking spot.
Yeah, perhaps. No, we'll leave it for the time being, and let's just hope that this group comes down.
Okay, Matt, I'll keep you posted if there's any movement on this side.
Okay, thanks. Bye for now.
We were together in this car for 18 months, 14 hours a day, a small camp together for the rest of the time, and never once did we have an angry word, a row. It's quite extraordinary, and so important out here to be able to get on like that. He's an incredibly hard worker, very enthusiastic, but as I say, he's now a very good cameraman, now working from a separate car so that we can cover more ground between us.
Basically, the wildebeest will arrive at the pool, and I will have to have the camera running because the croc will be underneath the water and will give no indication of when it's going to power out of the water. It's an extraordinary sight to see a 20-foot-long crocodile just emerge from the water in split seconds and grab an unfortunate animal. I treat the crocodiles with the utmost respect when I'm sitting up hides or walking around by the river, because I know if I'm clapped between their jaws, then that will be the end of me, without a shadow of a doubt. And most of the time I'm just sitting here waiting and lining up possible shots. I mean, the nature of the filming means that you will inevitably make mistakes because you can't, you have an idea where the croc's going to be and where it's going to make its attack, but ultimately you don't really have that idea, so you just have to keep the camera running and hope you're on the right group. When I'm in the hide, I have to be very quiet, and I can't make too much noise. I can't change a magazine, and I have 4 minutes in a magazine, and so that's not a very long time. These hunts can take longer to develop, and yeah, it has happened where I've had a run out before action, and I've missed it because I have had no film on the camera. But those are the frustrations of the job. I will be in the hide for most of the day, for as long as it takes to get a scene here, and that can take a number of weeks. So obviously it's very important that I get the information from George when the animals are coming down, because I don't want to stay in here for any longer than is absolutely necessary. It's rather hot under the African sun. But at this point in time, Matt can no longer rely on George. He's been called away to assist Pepijn, one of the camp's sound engineers. His Land Rover is stuck in the partially dried out Lake Naduru.
Pepijn, Yuri. Listen, Pepijn, how close can I get to your car without getting stuck myself?
I think about maybe 10 meters or something, because it's strange soil there, over.
Yeah, how badly stuck are you? Are both differentials on the ground, or is it just the front one?
Mainly the front one, over.
Okay, well now listen, I'll stop about 10 meters from you and then we'll just use the winch.
Roger.
Okay, Pepijn, we're on the lake now. Whereabouts are you on the lake?
Around the corner, if you have follow the road, and you go around the corner about, I think, maybe 1K, yeah, after the corner, and then about 200 meters off the road, over.
Alright, I think I've got you inside now. Okay, Pepijn, we'll be with you shortly.
I see you Hippo there, roger.
Meanwhile, Hugo is having an easier time than Matt. His current project, Savage Paradise, involves filming the migration of wildebeest and the many other animals they encounter. Today he's found a group of hippos which George had previously seen. Like crocodiles, hippos also spend the majority of their time in the water. But there the similarity ends. Despite their daunting size and appearance, hippos are strict vegetarians.
There's a nice African fable about the hippo. When God created the animals, he finally came to the hippo and said, "Where do you want to live?" And the hippo said, "In the water." And God said, no, with your big mouth in the water, you'll eat all the fish there, and we can't do that. And then the hippo said, "Well, I'll promise not to eat any fish, I'll only eat vegetation." And to prove to God that he's kept his promise, he comes out, and when he defecates, he spreads it all around with his tail so God can see there are no fish bones in there.
While Matt is still in his hide, Hugo has finished his day's shoot, as has Pepin. He was able to record nearby vultures before he got stuck on his way back to the camp.
All the time, he's looking.
We did some
good recordings. But after a short while came a lion.
What was Walter doing?
We were fighting and eating the carcass of a zebra.
Mm-hmm.
And then the lion came and took the carcass away and scared the vultures away.
Wonderful. Well, that'd be very useful.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Does it happen often that lions steal?
Oh yes, yeah. The lions are scavengers, in addition to being hunters themselves. But it happens regularly, yes. But it'd be very nice because we have got some material on film with lions and vultures, so that will be very useful. But now the wildebeest are getting close.
Yeah.
So we need for the new film, we need lots of sounds of wildebeests in large numbers, stampeding, calling, snorting, whatever.
Yeah.
Luckily, Pepine's Land Rover wasn't damaged. But there is always plenty of work for Mort and his trainee mechanics. With some 14 Land Rovers in the camp, there is always something to check or repair.
Is that one coming from Arlo? Yeah, so put a bit of lapa on the end of the pipe. Yeah, this one here.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, this is ready to come out, isn't it? Yeah. Ready to rock. Yeah. Okay.
fundamentally that's what we're here for. Yeah, it's an interesting scene. It's when it happens, you get such an adrenaline rush from that experience that it makes all the uncomfortable waiting very, very worthwhile at the end of the day, of the month. Arrive back at camp after a long day, we all get together and we all talk about the day's events, and we perhaps talk about the sequences that we might have filmed or the shots that we might need to pick up, and that is important. We definitely do not interfere with the animals' behaviour when we're filming them. If we did, there would be no point in being here. We're not trying to manipulate the animals, and we want them to behave naturally. We don't want them to look at the camera. We don't want them to run away from us. So we're very careful when we approach animals to drive with due consideration, and we keep our distance when that's necessary. Spending that time in the bush with Hugo enabled me to ask him many questions about the animals here, and also about his approach to filmmaking, how he uses light, how he makes the best of available light, how he approaches filming a scene. Just about everything. He's taught me everything. I think I've got a long way to go before I would consider myself to be a Hugo.